What's going on, man? We are back for another season. Season 4 here, joined by my man Z.
We back.
Got my father here, the OG in the building. And we want to welcome him in and obviously tell his story of being a Bills fan and obviously getting his son to be a Bills fan growing up. Ultimately, being the reason why, I record each year and part of the main reason why I go to all the games that I go to. So introduce yourself and kind of just your intro to being a Bills fan.
Thank you, my son, Velpo. I'm Velpo Johnson III. He's the fourth. But I'm here to just explain to you how I became a Buffalo Bills fan. And it really goes back many years. It started when my parents, Velpo's grandparents, we moved not far from the rock pile. And this was like in the early 1960s. And one of the special things about that was that at the time, of course, the Buffalo Bills played at the rock pile. They didn't call it that, but now they call it rock pile. But one of the special things is that my father would take me to the Bills games. Now, at that time, I was probably maybe 7 or 8 years old, but I just remember going to the Buffalo Bills game. But the other special part about that was that during that time in the early 60s, as anybody who knows the Buffalo Bills history, in 1964 and 1965, Buffalo Bills were AFC champions for 2 years in a row. And so they were a dominant team during that time. And of course, you may have heard of people like Jack Kemp, Albert Dubinion, Cookie Gilchrist. These were prominent players at the time. But during that time, of course, we were big Bills fans because we didn't live far from the stadiums. So every time when we didn't go to a game and we would hear a roar of the crowd, we could always hear when someone scored a touchdown. And so that was special. That was really special. But the other part about it, which, maybe I didn't share as much, is that people coming to the games. What we used to do, we would park cars in our driveway. So being 8, 9, 10 years old, what we would do is they were, believe it or not, well, you can believe it, there were players or people that would go to every Bills game. They were Bills fans, of course, but they would go to every Bills fan. So at every game, we always had certain people that would come to our house because they knew they had a parking space in our yard, and we would charge them $1. That was a big deal back then because the candy bar was 5 cents. So anyway, we kind of digress here. But the reason why I really became a Bills fan is because my dad took me to the Bills games and witnessed it, but we lived not too far from that. So when people talk about the Bills, it started there because that's where their first home was on Jefferson and Dodge Street in 1960s. But they were a phenomenal team. And many people don't talk about this too, and I'll share this at this time too. When the leagues first came together in 1966, Buffalo was in the championship games to go to the first Super Bowl, but they lost to Kansas City.
Surprise.
But in understanding back then, the Buffalo Bills were the team in the AFC, and they were dominant. And so that's how I became a Bills fan. It started with my father. We lived not too far from that, but it started there. And then from there, we can go on to the early 70s, O.J. Simpson, who was phenomenal. And then from there, we had O.J. Simpson, and then I think they built the Orchard Park Stadium. It could have been in 1973 or 74. But it was those early years in the 1960s is the foundation of the Buffalo Bills fans. And that's what I really remember back during those times.
Yeah, real Bills Mafia. Started way back on the east side of Buffalo. That's the main thing I want y'all to get from that is obviously we go back to what we're talking 60 years ago. To now, fast forward 2025, and we're in a new season, new year. Last time we talked to y'all, I believe we kind of did a little bit of a recap before the Super Bowl or after the Super Bowl. Do you remember what we did?
Yeah, we did a post-Super Bowl.
We did a post-Super Bowl recap, but
nice and saucy.
Yeah, but we thought we'll circle it all the way back around, bring one of the OGs on this episode because
Thank you.
we are getting closer. Yeah, we're getting closer and closer to the end of this one chapter with the Buffalo Bills. You know, last season at the stadium that we're currently at, I believe, what do we call it now? New Era? No. What is it called? Highmark? Is it Highmark?
I think it's Highmark.
It's Highmark. I can't keep up. I know I took engagement pictures there.
The Ralph House.
Yeah, 5 years ago we took engagement pictures there, and it had a totally different name. But we are entering the last year at this stadium, and I think it's an important year. I was talking to my father offline and was kind of just discussing what's going into the new stadium, how people are celebrating their last year as season ticket holders. I got one right here to the side of me who made an announcement, right? What did you decide to do in the last couple weeks?
You know, I mean, I may have made my commitment to the new stadium.
All right.
They got me.
They got you. Congrats. Or did Greg get you? I don't know.
It's a combination.
Combination. But yeah, I don't think we talked since then. The last...
Section 151, shout out.
Section 151, look at that. So for those who haven't experienced the visitation of the rundown of the new stadium, I think every season ticket holder or most season ticket holders have gone through the presentation.
I think all the lower bowl has, and I think it's just 300 sections that are still working their way through.
So how was that experience though?
I loved it, man. Because you can just sense the energy that's around it. You know, I feel like Buffalo has never really been known for anything state of the art. You know, to being such an older, more historic city. Yeah. Even when it comes to our sports teams, like the current Sabres arena was kind of just put together. There's no real frills to it. It's a hockey and basketball arena.
Right.
We've had our current stadium for well over 50 years, and it's bare bones straight football. But like coming into this new era of football for this area, you know, seeing what is to come, it's going to be the first time that, in my opinion, that this region is really stepping into this next generation of architecture in its current state. Like this is going to be top level stuff, you know, from the extra wide concourses to being able to see the field from any place in the stadium. You can walk through the doors and have a wide open view of what's taking place on the field compared to what we have now. And you in them concourses, and it's just all concrete. You don't know what's going on. Yeah, it's just a wind tunnel. 18 million people in a 5
squeeze through, man. At the end of the game walkthrough, especially when it's after long.
As I say, it's cold. We just lost.
It's wet. You like, man, get out my way. Right. I'm just trying to get back to my car.
Got people in the line for the bathroom. We got to cut through them. 3 feet over, you got people waiting for a beer. But in the new stadium, you don't have to deal with that.
So just more space.
Yeah, just looking at the size of it, you know, because I've been around that new stadium a lot. Just being out and about what I do for my work. Yeah. And just seeing how big it is compared to the current Highmark Stadium. Just from a pure size standpoint, it almost dwarfs the current one. And, I mean, there's still more to go.
Right, and you can legit see it because I know I get off the same exit.
You get on that 219 and get off entrance heading back into the city. That 219 loop, and you really get a direct sight line of both, and it's like, it's. I said, we gonna have something special. Yeah, we gonna have something special.
Really something beautiful.
That's good.
And it, you know, the even better is we're going into this new stadium on a high. Like, granted, we still have another season to go to get there, but it's not like we're doing this mid-drought.
Right.
You know, we're in there with a top-tier quarterback in his prime.
Right.
You know, a very solid roster. So, like, it's going to be energy. It's going to be momentum going into this exciting new place. It's going to be definitely bittersweet.
Right.
Like, this last season in this current place because, you know, for me, you know, being in, I don't even know what year this is, the season tickets for me, probably somewhere around 10. So as a 10-year season ticket holder, having a lot of memories in this building, but that still compares to nothing to those who've been going to games here since '74. So like
Right.
that's
Or
50
like you
plus
said, the
years
60s
of
wow.
memories
Way back.
and whatnot. So like it's definitely gonna be bittersweet because you have so many different eras of Bills fans. You have us who was raised in the drought.
In the drought,
essentially.
baby.
We
Drought
get
babies.
we
Not
get
really
the-
drought babies, but we were really.
No, technically we drought babies.
Well, drought
we
babies.
get the tail end of the '90s.
Yeah, because I was about to say we was born during the Super Bowl
that's the
year.
infancy
Right,
of
yes.
our
Right,
fandom.
right.
But like what we truly, once we really got our Bills fans jerseys, like
Got you.
Yeah,
is-
Eric Mose.
yeah, we grew up in that drought.
That's right.
Ain't no way to
Yeah.
deny it.
JP Lossman.
Yeah.
And all
Oh
that.
my goodness.
So we are in that era of fans. We got Mr. Johnson, who's seen the full spectrum of
Yes,
from the
I have.
AFL days to where we are now. So like, it's nice that all different generations will be able to experience this another passing of the torch. I mean, this is the third stadium that the team is going to be in. So I mean, that in itself is cool to experience. So I'm definitely looking forward to it.
So I gotta ask this question off the heels of that. I'll ask my father first. Favorite memory of the current stadium, because we know they're going to tear down in less than 24 months. So, what's your favorite memory of the stadium that's currently up right now? Of being inside, actually at the game. We know there's a ton of memories we can get from watching them on TV. Which, hey, I'm a fan of both. I think most people have a particular way they like to watch games. I can watch them on TV because I actually enjoy broadcasting and replays, and I like commentary. I'm Kevin Harlan fan, Gus Johnson fan. But being able to be physically in the building, though, what was one of the best experiences you've had?
Probably one of the best experiences. Probably, I think you pretty small. I don't know if you remember this, but I think it was when all of us, I think you and my two daughters and your mom and I went to a game, and we were seated at the lower seats.
Okay.
I can't remember specifically who we played, but I just remember it being a fun game because we all went all at one time. And at that time too, as I do remember, there were periods where fans were rowdier. And that particular time when we went, at least the people around us was very just into the game, and there was no trouble. There was no issues. But that's probably the special time.
So was it Pittsburgh?
I can't remember.
Okay.
I
do
believe
remember
we
there
won
was
the
a couple
game
games,
because we went to.
Yeah, Cordell Stewart was one game that we went to. I remember Levon Kirkland, those guys, Jerome Bettis.
Okay.
And we I got a couple old pictures in my phone of us all being at one game.
Correct.
With Ralph Wilson Stadium in the background. So it could have been Pittsburgh, it could have been another team, but I definitely remember us all going to a Pittsburgh Bills game.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was that was late 90s, maybe 97, 98. But
Yeah, you were.
Probably like
You maybe you were 10. I don't know.
okay.
But we were always able to go, and I thought that was special. And then I will say this too. It was special too because in during the Super Bowl runs or in the late 1980s, the company I used to work for, which was Dow Corporations, we had seats on the 50-yard line, 6 rows up.
Okay.
When we went to those games, it was always exciting because it was always a special day for not only myself and co-workers, but we just had special seats. And we were right on the 50-yard line. So it was probably the time that we went as a family, but also I remember I went there with co-workers where we would go to one game a year and we sat on the 50-yard lines, and they took care of everything we wanted. So that was special as well. So the first one was with our family, but the second one I think when I went there with coworkers.
Okay, I like that one, man. Z, what you got, man?
I will say I'll go with my first memory first. First memory at the stadium was actually a preseason game. Must have had to been 95, could have been 94. So we talking early, probably 95. My dad used to think of it like a big block party. He used to set up for he did it for a couple years in a row, a whole block party near our house. I mean, we had foods and drinks and music, and I think he had the fire trucks come through.
Wow.
And then at the end of the day, couple school buses will come and take all of us out to the stadium for the game. So that was my first time actually going to a game. So we had a full fun day. I'm on a school bus, so we take to the stadium. I'm sitting there watching. I'm like, oh, I'm actually here in the stadium. So it's an experience, just the sounds and the sights. So that was definitely my first experience, which one that always sticks with me just because it was such a cool experience. But just from a pure best memory, it got to be that perfect game in the playoffs against New England.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
It's
0 degrees.
Yeah, it's negative degree wind chill. Saturday night, I'm pretty sure it was Saturday. Saturday night, it's freezing cold. We get there, and this offense could not be stopped.
Yeah, no
I remember that game. Yeah.
Perfect. I mean, 7 for 7, all touchdowns, I'm pretty sure. And it was a party from start to finish. Yeah. And then the Micah Hyde interception, just
legendary.
Oh, that one.
That,
oh my goodness.
Legendary.
Listen.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard the stadium louder than that play right there.
And it's been loud last 7-8 years,
yeah,
especially.
But that play, I said, I don't think I've ever heard the stadium that loud.
Wow.
So and it's not even just like a moment. It's just that whole entire 60 minutes of football was just the most
fun.
Definitely the most fun game that I've ever been to. Like it was perfect.
It was.
It was even better against New England too.
Right.
Because it's enjoyable, especially after we lost that stupid
win game.
Yeah, that stupid win game a couple weeks before.
They beat us
really
like 10-3
feeling themselves.
I'm
like, all right,
yeah, we just kept running the ball down their throat.
Yeah, come see us in January.
All right, okay. Yeah,
and then come see what happened.
Yep, and we smacked them 47-17.
Touchdown.
Yeah, Dawson Knox,
Emmanuel
Gabe
Sanders,
Davis.
Who was the quarterback for the New England?
Mac Jones.
Yeah, that was
Mac
Mac.
Jones.
Okay.
Yeah, that was Mac.
Mac Daddy.
Mac thought he had that touchdown. Micah Hyde said, "Thank you."
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I want to piggyback off that because that's definitely in my top 3. I think every fan that I speak to who was at that game has that in their like top 2.
Yeah, it was
just because if you were in that building, it was very cold, but you didn't feel it. Just because the atmosphere, the Bills are winning, of course. I mean, I think it's a whole lot better when the Bills are winning. There was no snow, so I think that helped too.
And that's the first real home playoff win in
a long time. Yeah,
because I mean, we had the year before that, but that was like COVID.
Yeah,
and
so this was this was a year after COVID, and this was like you said on the heels of us losing to New England a month before in the game where they ran all over us. So like this was like y'all thought y'all was.
They didn't even run all over us. They broke one run.
Yeah, it was Damian Harris. Shout out to him. He's retired since then, but Damian Harris broke one
run. That's it.
And we couldn't convert in the inside. I remember I left that game pissed off, but
wow.
But that was a movie. So I will always remember that game. But I'm gonna pick out 2 because I think most of y'all at least had 2. I'll say 1 was most recent with Ravel, taking him to his first home game. Because even if he didn't really fully take it in the moment, I think that's going to be one of those moments where 20 years from now, 30 years from now, that he remembers. Because first off, you got a chance to see one of the best players of all time in Josh Allen. You got a chance to go to a home game, which you hear your father talk about often.
All the time.
But I think that having gone to training camps, having gone to preseason, like as a kid, I think you don't really fully grasp it until you go to a regular season game.
Correct.
So for me, having brought him to preseason games since he was 3-4 years old to now getting him to this point at 15, I think he was at the time, it was a beautiful thing because, he got the full experience too because the weather wasn't beautiful. I remember that was a game, it was a little rain and he it's so funny because he didn't bring his boots, so he had to wear my boots, and I'm just like, Ravel, I told you. One thing that you have one job, and he shows up in like slides, and I'm like, typical teenager. It's December, and he shows up in slides, but
you gotta get your feet cut
off. Definitely one to check off for me, and then I'll piggyback on yours, but I'll also say this most recent game too, because I think recent games they kind of tend to stick out, but I think Baltimore Bills for me was fun because that was one of the most highly anticipated playoff home games we've had in a while that wasn't Kansas City. I think when we play Kansas City, we always know what we're going to get. It's Patrick versus Josh, Andy Reid versus McDermott. Like, we done seen that story now 10, 12 times. This one, Josh versus Lamar, MVP 1 versus MVP 2. Lamar coming in back-to-back MVP quarterback. coming in with Derrick Henry, one of the all-time greats running back. And it was really a battle of the fan bases, but also a battle of two juggernauts in the AFC. And for us, in that first half especially, because I remember enjoying this with the people around me, for us to come out 3 turnovers in that first half.
Oh, that's right.
And the way that the crowd and the sections that I was in reacted to each turnover, it was almost like we looked around at each other like, is this really happening? You know, when he threw the first interception to Taylor Rapp, it was like, what is going on? And then he come back and he fumbles, and then Von Miller is running.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is going
Von
on?
still has speed.
Yeah, he took off for a little bit, but like, for me, things that are fresh, obviously the childhood memories are obviously great because that's what gets you going and kind of welcomes you into fandom. But like, now that I'm an adult, able to, really, really understand the game, able to have people in your section who right? They become a part of your own little family, your Bills family, and you kind of just looking at them like, did you just see what I just saw? Like you said with that Micah Hyde interception. It's like, wait.
Did that just happen?
Did he really just grab that out of thin air? So definitely gonna miss those moments. Like I said, we're still doesn't look like we'll be going on to the new stadium, but that does not mean you won't see us at any games. Cyrus, you know that all too well. Like it's we can't keep us away from that area, that stadium. So we will be around.
Tailgate partners now.
Yeah, so it's gonna be fun. But I thought we'd start off that way because I believe that going into a brand new season, good to reflect back, but also now it's time to turn the page and look forward. The Bills, as most of you guys know, came very, very close in the AFC Championship to go into that next game. They made it to the Final Four. It's college basketball season. You go to the Final Four, we already know, and you lose by 3 points. It is very tough, but the Bills have since decided to turn the page. So what I really want to go into quickly, because we're probably going to only keep you for about 20, 30 more minutes here, not too long, because I know y'all want to enjoy y'all beautiful y'all week as we walk into
I'm about
April.
to say beautiful weather. I
Not yet. I think May will officially be the month where Buffalo sees that weather become our friend. But a lot of off-season situations, we don't have to break down each one because we do, over the next couple weeks, have to get into more important things like the draft. But off season, we got extensions, we got free agents who we've signed since we last recorded. I'll start with my dad first. Any one in particular that you felt like was probably so far the most important, or the one that really, either caught you off guard, or one that you liked the most out of either their re-signings or one of the free agents that they picked up?
Well, I think I just like the fact that they were able to re-sign most of their starters. And that goes from the receivers to Russo, Shakir, Benford, and I think there's one more I probably forgot. But I know the majority of the re-signs was great. Now, I think a lot of people look back on last year, and they were really scared. I didn't know what kind of team it would be last year when they got rid of all the captains, basically. But they came back, and from what I understand is that they did that move for this year. And so for me, it was important for them to re-sign the players that are starting, that is playing well. And I know they brought some free agents in, but I think it's important to solidify, again, the players that you have now that allowed you to get basically a half a yard from possibly going to the Super Bowl.
Man.
Yeah. Okay.
Inches, man.
And so, but that's a matter of opinion, because I will say this right now, it's strange to have one ref saying that it's a first down and another ref saying that it's not. That should not happen. There should be some kind of conversation. If a ref believes that it's a first down, I felt that it should have been conceded. However, we know how it went. But we can't talk about that. But the main thing, again, in answering your question, is that they definitely signed their players. And I think that in itself meant a lot. I'm just hoping that they can come to terms with James Cook, because I think he's a vital part of their offense. And at some point, I'm hoping that they can come together, hopefully in the next months, to solidify that. And I think if they can do that, I think, and do well in the draft. I know we haven't talked about the draft.
Yeah.
Do well in the draft. I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, what you guys see?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely like that part because, I mean, then that's identifying the next core of the team. So, like, you have your starting middle linebacker locked up long term.
Thank you.
You got your starting cornerback long term. Your slot receiver, who is your pseudo number one receiver, locked up long term. Your top edge locked up long term.
Thank you.
Those are all vital positions, ones that are hard to find. So, you know, being able to identify those and get those all signed to dollars that are, you know, a little bit more on the team friendly side too.
Correct.
Like
correct.
that's huge. So, you know, I definitely appreciate that. I'll say Josh Palmer is probably my biggest impact. One, just because the position is much needed.
Yeah.
But it's also a skill set that we have been looking for and haven't been able to find.
Right.
You know, we haven't had a player who can essentially create separation and get his own space without being schemed open in a while. You know, first couple year of Diggs, he was still elite from a route running standpoint and creating separation. But in the last couple years, we haven't had that. You know, Khalil Shakir to a certain extent. However, someone on the outside that can create their own space and be open just from pure route running skills alone. You know, so Josh Palmer, I think, is someone that can actually give this offense a much needed boost from that standpoint. Someone you can put on the outside. Okay, you want to go man to man, you want to go one on one. Okay, cool. I'm gonna get this separation because I'm a top level, you know, route runner and precision with what I do. Not a blazer, however, I can get open down the field because I'm good at getting off the line, getting off of press coverage. So, you know, that for me is probably my biggest move that they made so far this offseason. One, again, position of need, and two, I think it'll just make a big impact on that offense.
Yeah, I'll kind of smash both of those together because it's definitely important to bring back the core of the young guys because as my dad just said, I mean, they lost 4 or 5 captains last year, and I think a lot of the question marks were, how do you replace that veteran leadership? How do you replace the playoff experience that all of those guys brought, from Trey White to Mitch Morse, and they kind of did it collectively. You know, it was our starting O-line looked the best it has looked probably since I've been alive.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The cornerbacks,
And they all coming back.
Yeah, they all coming back.
The entire O-line.
Yeah, which is beautiful for Josh Allen and the running back. And then you look at the growth that we saw from our corners, especially from Christian Benford. You know, he became legit the number 1 corner last year with Tre'Davious White out, and he blossomed. He turned into really an all-pro candidate last year. I think he had 1 all-pro vote. So I love the fact that they decided to extend. I think the one I was most probably surprised / glad that was Benford, because I think that as we got closer to April, it was really looking like, man, Benford might be either a July / August deal, or it might have been next year, because I think it was hard to kind of come up with his numbers.
Yeah, I was nervous when them J.C. Horn numbers and the Stingley numbers came out. I said, "Ooh,
those are good numbers though." Oh my goodness!
Yeah, they was getting paid.
Yeah,
yes,
we're gonna have to pay 23, 24
for a guy who legit had really just one like big year under his belt. We all know that he's been doing it now since he joined us 3.5 years ago, but like, this is a guy who you would maybe want to see it for 1 more year as the number 1 corner. But I think that the Bills, they know what they got in him.
Yeah, I feel like for me, this last year proved that he is who he is.
Yeah.
Because I think the year before that was the first year he played at a high level.
Right.
And this past season, he solidified that and then some. You know, I mean, I think for the last 2 years, he's been playing at a top 10, even top 5 cornerback level in the league.
Sure.
So, like, to get him at the dollar amount that they got, I mean, I still is a strong word. 'Cause I mean, 19 million is still 19 million. But compared to what,
corner,
But I mean, you coming in at the 13th corner at APY. So like,
and he's still young.
Yeah,
still got a lot of time.
This is a 6th round pick. And this is the definition of what you want to see.
Villanova. Shout out to Jalen Brunson, right?
This is you draft and develop. And you re-sign. So, like, this is literally the definition of what you want as a GM and as a team. You draft them, you bring them into your system, your ecosystem, and then develop him, and now it's time for him to get paid. And you want to do that.
Right.
You want to reward someone like that.
You do.
And those are the people you want to pay. Like, yo, he grinded from most 6-round picks don't even make the team.
Yeah,
I know.
they barely getting paid a million.
You started year one because you obviously put the work in. So for them to come back and reward him with this big contract, I love to see it.
Yeah,
I love to see it. But I do want to kind of take a step back because you both mentioned, how the year before we got rid of so many captains.
Right.
And I felt like it was a move that Brandon Beane, the team, should have made. But I definitely want to give them their flowers for that because look at where they're at now.
Correct.
Mitch Morris retired.
Correct. Oh, wow.
Micah Hyde retired.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Jordan Poyer probably should.
on the verge, baby.
Trey White, free agent.
Oh,
Right,
know,
Stephon Diggs now in New England.
Yeah, so like they look like they got out after the right time.
They
So
did,
like
got
it's
you.
not that they just clean house. They realize like, yo, this is the beginning of the end for most of these players. So even though in the moment it hurt,
Yeah,
but it's like this is the right time. So like I'm just like the timing of it is perfect because now it gave this next core the chance to really step up.
Yeah.
Having Hyde and Poyer going allowed Taylor Rapp to step into this role, and Hyde coming back, pouring into Cole Bishop.
Yep.
Now we got the next stage of what the safety room looks like. Brentford was able to really shine because Trey White wasn't still here, and Terrell Bernard is here after they let Tremaine Edmonds walk.
Correct.
So it's like they've been pulling the right levers at the right time, and so I definitely want to kind of even say shout out to
the front.
the front office staff.
Because that's the other point I was going to add before we get into the last bit of this is like they have done a great job of drafting while they have guys in the building where they kind of forecast like, okay, what does this look like for us in the next 3 to 4 years? It's almost like working in the sales business where you're trying to market and trying to make certain changes so that the next 3 or 4 years you guys hit profit and you guys make that money. So like for the Bills, I think that Brandon Beane has done a great job of, yes, we got a running back, but we still going to draft another running back because his contract may look like this in a couple years. Speaking of Ray Davis, when it came to Terrell Bernard, we got Tremaine Edmonds, but I think we should still spend a 3rd round pick on a Terrell Bernard because guess what? Let's mold him. Let's whatever. Dorian Williams a couple years ago.
That's right.
You know what? We still got Milano. We still got this, but let's make sure we still go ahead and address linebacker and maybe coach him up, get him ready. So now you got. Every year you're seeing them do this with certain positions. I mean, the year when they drafted Benford and Kyer Elam, they went and grabbed 2 because I'm pretty sure Bean said, listen, yes, I got Tre'Davious White, but on the opposite side, we playing this game called flip-flop.
Yeah, it's going to be a guy.
Yeah, we keep trying to go.
It's going to be your
Levi Wallace, Dane Jackson.
Your main man back. I've been waiting for you to bring
Gaines.
that up. So you love you some Dane Jackson.
Yeah. Oh, man, don't start. Don't
They
start.
say Dane. I said, Val, I know Val happy.
Don't start.
Oh, my goodness.
I said, Dane Jackson back. University of Pittsburgh's own.
Cut it out.
Dane Jackson is back.
Yeah, so you notice a trend where they are always trying to be 2 steps ahead. Like I told my dad offline, it's like, man, listen, at the end of the day, you're never going to be perfect. You're never going to see a front office make all of the right decisions.
Correct.
But all you hope for, just like most people in
Hit
management.
more than you miss.
Exactly, because it's like, listen, did they hit on Kyer Elam? Nope. Maybe not. But guess what? They hit on Benford.
Yes, they did.
You know what I mean?
Listen, because anything, if I can come out of that draft, I don't care where the round happens.
Yeah.
If I can walk out of that draft with the number 1 corner, I don't care if he was undrafted.
I agree with you.
I don't care
like
if you
that.
were 5th or 1st.
I like that. Yeah.
I might have missed on that 1st, but this 6th round pick I got
it.
I still got my top corners
here.
here.
And linebacker from that draft.
Yeah, they cut their losses on that draft, and it's cool. You trade them and you keep them moving. And say, hey, we took a shot. Because the thing is, it wasn't the same year. The year before that, did the same thing at defensive end. You go Rousseau, and then you go Boogie Basham.
Yep.
Again, because you keep taking swings at it. The only position they haven't really done that at heavy, which they probably should have, is receiver.
Yeah.
Like, they've made their run at cornerbacks. They made their run at defensive end. I mean, they've taken a lot of swings at defense. I mean, Epinesa, Von Miller, Leonard Floyd, they continue to make swings at it.
Because they know how important it is.
Yeah, because again, you know how hard it is to find top tier defensive ends?
It's tough.
How many Myles Garrett's out there? 1.
Oh,
How many Micah Parsons? 1. a TJ Watt. I mean,
That's
these
why
players.
Myles Garrett, man, funny, that was our last topic.
Trash for that.
He wouldn't have had to stay in Cleveland, but that's another story.
Let me see anybody else I know turn $40 million down each season.
Yeah, it's tough.
They'd have put that contract in front of me. I'd have been like,
you know what?
I know I'm trying to win it all, but that's
right. That's
okay. That's
together.
$40 million.
Where's the pen?
Same thing with Max Crosby. He did the same thing. Them boys was funny. They was like, "Oh, we want to win."
Oh,
next thing you know, they said,
"Where's the pen?"
Yeah, $35 million a year.
Yeah,
they said, "Yeah, let me black pen, blue pen."
Right. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, let's sign that. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, man, I think the Bills front office are making the necessary adjustments because our next segment over the next 2 weeks is really going to be about the draft process and really what I would love to see going forward. And y'all can, give y'all take on that is just like, where do you see the Bills double dipping? Because I think that's going to be when you got 10 draft picks, and I know they'll probably only pick 6 guys.
Yeah, 10 ain't making the team.
We know how Brady
they got to
is,
flip that for next year.
Yeah, they're gonna turn that into probably 6. So with 6 to 10 picks, I know it's 10 on paper right now. I'll start my dad first. Like, do you see them aggressively double dipping at a certain position, or do you think that you may see Bean just play the board this year?
Well, what I'm hoping for that they do somewhat what they did last year, if I remember correctly. I think you really want to go with the best player available. Mm-hmm. You don't want to pigeonhole yourself and saying, I got to get a cornerback. Now, my understanding is that they're when it comes to defensive lines, it's a lot of good defensive linemen in the draft.
Especially tackles, yeah.
So you're good there. But my thinking is go for the best player. One of the things I mentioned, of course, we were talking off camera just half an hour ago. My thinking, should the Bills, if I heard there's good tight ends in the draft, should you do a tight end? There's tight ends in the draft that are explosive downfield, and they're bigger, they're taller, they're faster now. Do you do a tight end? But my thing is just get the best player. And I'll say this, last year in the draft, when they drafted the running back for the Bills, Davis?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Ray Davis. I had a chart. I had a chart that I was looking at. And it was going through the chart. And I think, if I'm right, he's a 3rd or 4th round pick?
Third? No, I think it's 4th.
Fourth round.
Because I think Dwayne Carter was the 3rd.
Okay, so I'm looking at my sheet, and I'm saying there's no run on running backs. Yeah. I think at the time there's only 2 running backs that came off the board. And they said the 3rd best running back was Ray Davis.
Yeah.
And the Bills picked him. And I thought that was a good pick. So my thinking is, wherever you pick in the draft, just pick the best player. And it'll work itself out. So that's my thinking. Don't really go after specific positions. I know they're going to get a corner. I know they're going to do defensive linemen. Mm-hmm. But do it with the best player. And then the other positions, be it receiver or whatever else, same thing. So just pick the best player and let things fall where they may.
What you think, Z?
Yeah, I mean, that's how I normally feel this year. Nah, I don't want to hear nothing about best player available this year.
No.
What you want?
Right now, I have 2 D linemen who are suspended for 6 games.
Yeah,
correct.
Moving forward here, I only have 2 D tackles under contract. I only got Ed Oliver and Dwayne Carter moving forward. Yeah. I got 2 30-plus-year-old defensive tackles. I got Greg Rousseau moving forward and Javon Solomon.
Right.
That's right.
A.J. Epinesa is a free agent after this year.
Because he signed a 2-year deal.
Something happened. Yeah, that extension was 2 years. So I have, in my opinion, I have holes now and holes moving forward on that D line.
Okay.
So in those first 3 rounds, and we didn't have a 3rd round pick. So right now at least.
Right.
So that those first 2 days of the draft, I need to be walking away with something on that D line.
Okay.
And I also still have a hole at second cornerback too, because I don't want to roll into the season with Dane Jackson and why am I drawing a blank on you?
Jamarcus Ingram.
Thank you, Jamarcus Ingram battling out for 2. I think those are both good depth corners to have. But
sure.
I don't want that to be my
number 2.
Yeah, my starting second cornerback.
Gotta go to the Super Bowl, baby.
Again, I need a corner. I in my opinion, I desperately need a defensive tackle.
Okay.
So between those first 2 picks, I need to walk away with those, and I still need some speed at receiver.
Yeah.
So yes, best player available, but I need it to be within the confines of those positions.
Right.
I mean, it can be a linebacker out there that could be a first round talent, and he in the second round. Yeah, I don't slip right past him. I don't want nothing to do with that right now. I need the best defensive tackle, defensive end, or cornerback that's on the board, first round and second round.
Okay.
Once we get to the third and fourth, we can start filling out the rooms. But I need to be walking away with the top level defensive tackle that I can put in the rotation now and can also be a legitimate piece of my defense moving forward, starting next year. Because Daquan Jones, I mean, you got 1 more year here. After that, you gone.
If that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so like I need that starting one tech to get in the rotation now. Now you take this and run. So I mean, if I can somehow get Kenneth Grant on my team,
Man, listen. Don't get me started.
No,
The Kenneth Grant train is real.
yeah,
So.
who is
defensive
that?
tackle out of Michigan.
Yeah, 6. I want to say 6'4",
6'4",
350.
Yeah,
340. Move sideline to sideline.
he
You
can
chase the ball
penetrate. He
down.
can bull rush.
So where is projected?
Projected between 20
First
and
round,
30.
yeah,
Yeah.
anywhere between
Really?
15 to 30.
Yeah. They got him as
Could
right
be
now,
sooner.
what it third best defensive tackle or second best because his guy, his
Yeah,
teammate,
both Michigan tackles.
is going top 10.
Oh really? Okay.
But they once again, at the position that you want him at, that one technique, he is probably the best one technique D tackle in the entire draft.
Yeah, it's a
Oh, is he
perfect
really?
fit for what
And
the
it's
Bills
right,
need.
exactly what the Bills need. So it is.
You got him if he's there at 30 by the
Oh my
grace of
gosh.
God.
If it's
I need to
anything-
see Brent. I need to see Brandon being himself.
Yeah,
with
go
the
ahead. Yeah,
full on
just run up
sprint
to the
with the card because that's exactly what this defense
But
needs.
would you move up for him?
I would if it
I mean,
gets so.
if you're at a 25th.
I was gonna say if we had 24 or 25, I'm figuring out what
Really?
it's gonna take
Okay.
to,
Yeah,
to
because
move
I got
up.
enough
Okay.
picks, and that's the way I look at it. Like the Bills are in prime position where if they want a guy or two in this entire draft, they can get him.
Okay.
Whether it's this year, next year's draft picks, like that's the thing about being a handful of players away. Because I'm not gonna say the Bills are one player away,
Right.
but the Bills right now, with the acquisitions of, we talked about a Joshua Palmer, the 2 D linemen that we got, we know are going to be suspended 6 games. That's what's going to also make me press a little bit in the first 2 days because I need a couple of the young guys, and I think McDermott kind of said it in his presser recently at the ownership meeting.
Somebody's
He
gonna
was
have to step up.
He said we're going to need some younger players to step up. And I know he mentioned Dwayne Carter and Solomon,
Okay.
but I know in his mind and in Bean's
And
mind,
also
they
the
know
draft picks that's coming.
exactly. They know they thinking about the rookies too that's about to come in. So if you look at Dwayne Carter, Javon Solomon, on top of whoever they draft, they're going to expect a lot from them in the first half of the season because even when you do get Ogunjobi and Mike Height or however you say his last name, when you do get them back,
okay.
it's going to take some time.
Yeah, they missed 6 weeks.
Yeah, for
They
them
gonna
to
have
even
fresh
get in, like
legs,
football.
but-
So they're going to have fresh legs,
This
but
is
like.
gonna get acclimated to
Yeah,
game speed.
yeah, game
back
speed
into
is
what's
different.
going on.
And Bills, they don't just rush nobody out there.
Yeah, they can start practicing after
They
4.
can,
So
yep.
I mean that definitely helps.
And they'll be
Either
there
way.
all the training camp.
Yeah.
They'll be there all during the spring camp. So it's not like they're going to just be like showing up.
But again,
in
these guys
October.
already got their rotations down. They already figure out how these
Yeah,
working
I'm saying
out.
right now. Yeah, if them boys dominate, and guess what?
All right, you can get your 15.
You gonna get your-
your
get
15
your-
snaps.
Y'all can put your hoodie on, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Maybe you
So-
play, maybe you don't. But
Yeah, so I definitely got to see those D tackles and those DNs show up because again, the thing that we don't have right now is we have a very, very good team. We don't have a lot of top elite players.
I agree with that.
We have Josh,
playmakers.
I agree.
and we have Deion Dawkins
yeah, we got some really good players.
and Spencer Brown.
James Cook.
Those are probably the only players on offense that you'll put in top 5 or probably even top 10.
I'll say James
James
Cook.
Cook. Oh, definitely James Cook.
I got him in top. He's a top 5 running back in mine. I got Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry. I'm pausing.
Okay. Well,
Christian McCaffrey went healthy.
but he's not
But
healthy.
I know, but I'm saying like healthy running backs last year. I think
James
Cook
man.
proved himself. I mean, we're just watching some old
Yeah,
stuff,
I mean,
but
he's definitely up
as
there.
a breakaway threat / he
That's
showed
fair.
he can be in the red zone and score. Because I think that was his biggest red flag the first 2 years.
Well, they didn't even give
They didn't give him the ball, but then some people feared that he may not be able to make it work inside the 10-yard
Well,
line.
my thought for a running back, if for me to call you one of the best, I need you to be able to be on the field for 3 downs.
Well, that's what they need to. I think that's coaching, though, too.
But I think they
Or
don't
maybe
want,
they don't trust
They
him.
don't want that.
No, I just don't think they trust him. I think he's shown himself not to be able to be trusted to pass a lot, which is important. And I wouldn't blink to give Saquon Barkley the type of money Philly gave him, because I know
19 mil. Or what did he get? I forgot.
He
What
got
was
20. He got 20.
Oh, he got the 20.
because I
He got
know
20.
down 1, down 2, down 3, he can be out there and make a difference. Like James Cook, I would be hesitant to give that type of money to, because
Well, I don't think he
can
get 20.
you-
But you got to
15.
be somewhere between 10 and 15.
Yeah, for sure.
I
But
think
that's my thinking.
I think
So,
the reasonable number for him, and I know we didn't talk about James Cook on this episode because
come down to like 11 and a half,
that's what I said, between 10 and 15.
and we can.
man, get that man 14, call it a day.
I'm not doing 14. I'm not doing
I can
14,
do 14.
unless you are the top 1 or 2 running backs in the league. I can't pay you that type of money, only because
If I got it, I'd
it's
do it.
position. It's just that position is not valuable. And I'm not gonna pay Josh $330 million to hand the ball off 17, 18 times to this one person.
But I will say this, if I can say this. Do you think because James Cook took so much pressure off of Josh Allen that he was a better quarterback this year?
I think he was a more efficient
do you think
quarterback this
he
year,
had the
yeah.
impact? Because what you gotta, this is where I look at it. This is just my take now. And you gotta look at Philly. How much Saquon took off of Hurts? Okay, but this is my thinking. When the defense is looking at the Bills for too many early years, they was always concentrating on Josh. Okay, and you had Diggs, but he was a receiver. But when they're looking in the backfield and you see a threat at quarterback and a threat at running back, they have to pick their poison. And I think with Cook doing what he did last year, teams had to try to stop him, but they never really did.
So if we switch to, let's say the running back room consisted of Ray Davis and Ty Johnson and third down running back.
Okay.
Do you think you would see much of a difference in productivity from the offense? Because in my opinion, I don't think it would be much different.
I think it was slightly, if I can just answer that, only because I think the only difference with Cook as the first and second down back, let's just say he's not a third down back.
He had the long touchdowns.
Right.
He had that breakaway.
But I just think I think the biggest impact that Cook made last year that it's going to make this a longer process than we all wanted to, is that he just proved on anywhere in the field, obviously, I can make an impact.
Joe scored 16 touchdowns.
Right.
There's nothing to sneeze at.
But I think more so for me, like I tried to look at the growth from year 2 to year 3, was like, it's one thing to be able to break away and score 60-yard touchdowns. Shoot, I can get a Eckler or I can get a Giovanni Bernard to give me a couple long touchdowns, but like, can you in big games make a couple plays that cause impact? And I look at that Kansas City game last year, and I'm like, who was the second best offensive player on that whole game? It was him.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, straight up going head first in the guys and then still getting the end zone. Like, we would have never thought that was James Cook game, year 1 or year 2. We was like, nah, that's Ray Davis. Like, going into last year, Ray Davis probably would have been the first person that we thought of in short yardage situations. But I think what helped Cook last year put himself in that top 10, top 5 or 6 category is like, he showed, hey, physical yards, I can do that. Pass catching out the ball, you won't see me drop no more balls. I think the worst notion that's out there on him right now that it's more of a game plan type thing is that he's not a third down back like Ty Johnson is. And I think that's a good problem to have, because guess what? Mm-hmm. If Ty Johnson is going to be your third down back and James Cook is going to be my first and my second down option, guess what? I still have the best running back room in the league. I just don't know if it's as easy, to get back to your original point, it's as easy to replace a guy like James Cook, because a lot of people out here on the radio are like, man, Ray Davis can do the same thing James Cook is doing. And I'm like, I love Ray Davis, but they're two different type of backs.
Stylistically,
you know what I mean? So I think, long story short, it's going to be an ongoing debate, I think, amongst fans until they do make their decision. But like, I really hope people just don't look at it like,
dismiss it.
Yeah, like running backs is just like, yeah, I'm going to get me one that's going to give me 15, 20 yards, 6 yards here, and just like Yeah, like I said, if it ends up being where he's asking for too much and they can't meet in the middle ground, I'm cool
I'm
moving
okay
on.
with that.
But if we can find a middle ground, I'm cool. And it seems like some people have already given up. I think that's my biggest issue.
I mean, I just don't. I don't value the running back position at a $15 million a year
and that's
position.
fine. And that's fine.
I'd rather spend that collectively for the room as opposed to my main guy getting 15 mil. And it's not even for me. It's not even a James Cook argument for me. It's more of a dollar and cents for that particular position. Because again, if I'm paying Josh top of the market, I'm paying Deion Dawkins top of the market. Spencer Brown is still an expensive contract. Connor McGovern needs to get money. Those are 5 players just right in front of you that's all going to get top of the market, essentially money. So can I allocate top of the market money I think it only, running back also when I still know I need another stud at defensive end?
But I think it only helps them real quick is that they're not paying a big-time receiver any money. Now, if they had a Stephon Diggs on their deal, but they were paying him $30 million a year, then you would definitely not have no money for James Cook. But when your second best offensive player from last year is asking for, let's say his asking price is between realistically 13 and 15, and I don't have a receiver right now, I'm paying big time money. I'm not shaking in my boots as much because I don't have a Mike Evans or a Neighbors to worry about, a T. Higgins or Jamar Chase. Because Cincinnati right now, if they had a James Cook problem, they wouldn't be able to pay James Cook. Bills don't have that same problem. I mean, it's more spread out because
Trey Hendrickson problem.
They
got to figure out how to pay.
So like Cincinnati wouldn't be able to pay James Cook, but like if you look at the Bills' offense, like you mentioned, they're paying their quarterback, they're paying their offensive lineman, but it's like they don't got a receiver worth more than 20 mil.
They don't.
So if my second best offensive player is James Cook, and I have to take a deep breath and give him 13.9 or even 13 mil, I'm not going.
Yeah, I can live with those. I'm just not doing the 15.
Nah,
and
like I said,
down to 12.
I'm okay
around
with
there. I'm good, but I just can't do the 15.
I'm okay with it. Only point I just want to make quick, because again we talked about this when we started about old school, when they pretty much told me at the end of the season, because I remember OJ. When he broke OJ record for touchdown, that's a big deal. I'm gonna tell you, back again, I remember OJ. Well, again, of course I remember OJ, but James Cook gave me flashes of OJ. I'm just being honest with you. For a person his size, the way he runs in the middle and can just take off and no one touch him. That's what OJ did. And then at the end of the season, they said that he broke OJ Simpson's record in touchdowns. And I don't think that's not talked about enough. As far as Bill's history, when he broke that record, and I know people got their issues, but he broke OJ Simpson's record.
Yeah, I think he tied it. But either way, even tying it is still
but
a record that's still for 60 years.
Yeah. But that's my whole point.
Shady had a couple stabs at it, but he couldn't do it either.
Who?
Shady was the next best running back.
I know that. But no one
put up those type of numbers.
Thurman didn't do that.
Right, that's crazy.
Thurman was the most valuable player.
You know what's crazy? Josh came one touchdown away from tying it. The year
I know.
Which is
crazy too.
To even think about.
Yeah. But guess what? He didn't have to do that this year.
Yeah. And that's why
Cook took some of that away from him. So that's why I said, I'm kind of in between, just very quickly, somewhere between 10 and 15.
Yeah.
And that's where I am. And I think that's reasonable.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And like I said, ultimately off camera we talk, but I think, as always, us fans, we always think, we GMs and we think we head of scouting and
right.
And I listen to them on the radio sometimes, and I'm just like, man, at the end of the day, and I've said this especially for the last 6-7 years, the front office, the day going,
right.
But now, the front office going to do what they feel is best, regardless.
Correct.
We can agree, we can disagree. But the Bills will always do, especially with this front office, they're gonna do what they feel is best. Correct. So whether it's not paying them, okay, we gotta live with it. If it's paying them, okay, cool, we gotta live with it, because right now I think it's too many fans taking strong points one way or the other.
Okay.
And it's like, so you're gonna be hurt. All right, because you're too far this way.
I think a lot of fans get personally
they
offended.
do, and it's like, whoa.
Because the thing about me, do I think that James Cook is a $15 million player in this league? Yes.
Uh-huh.
Do I want my team paying him $15 million? No.
Right.
But am I going to get offended at him advocating for himself to get paid? Absolutely not.
No.
Like I take zero offense with James Cook going on Instagram or doing whatever he needs to do to get himself paid.
Gotcha.
Because that brother worked for this money.
Yes, he did.
So like, I'm not gonna take personal offense. People, just trade him, cut him. I don't even want on my team.
Gotcha.
Like,
Yeah,
don't
don't
take
take
it
it
mad at that
personal.
man trying to get his money. Listen, that man is trying to change his family's
Yes,
life.
he is. Yes, he is.
Granted, his brother got money
Gotcha.
too.
But-
However, that ain't the point.
But you know what?
This changes my whole bloodline.
Yes, it
Like,
does.
man, boy,
It does.
go after your money the way you need to.
I think the last point of it, and we'll wrap it up, is that is a part of it, though, is that he witnessed his brother, and his own brother witnessed himself hit the ground quick.
It was done.
And was done. And I think his brother noticed how quickly it could change, because people forget 3 years ago, Dalvin Cook
He was
one
on
of
the
the top
verge of a
5
contract.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
he was one of the top 5 backs in this league.
Couldn't keep his shoulders up.
And with Minnesota, wanted a new deal. And when that didn't work out, guess what? He ended up bouncing around the league for about 2 years, and now he's out.
Okay.
He's out of the league. I mean, he could still hop on somebody's practice squad or
But it's gonna
whatever.
be vet minimum.
It's going to be vet
Yeah.
minimum. But that was just 3 years ago, because I remember he came down here for that Bills Minnesota Classic, and he ran 80 yards to help have Minnesota come back in that
remember
game.
that
Kirk
game.
Cousins.
I
Yeah, that
remember
game
that
was
game.
bananas. That was another
crazy.
wild game.
Oh, we lost though.
I know. That's why I don't
That
bring it
was-
up as
yeah,
one of my favorite
yeah.
moments. Like,
Yeah,
I don't talk about that game.
Never even happened.
Yeah, what game?
Oh, my-
But no, he was a part of that game, and like I
wow.
think he even saw how important it is to even teach his brother, like, while you can
Got you.
get what you worth, because in the blink of an eye, everything can change.
Okay.
And whether we feel like it's ignorant or not, because some Bills fans, I think they don't really fully understand, like, when you come from where they come from, you know, they
Right,
from
right.
Florida,
Correct.
probably from one of the roughest neighborhoods in Florida. If I know a little bit about their past, I've read a little bit.
Okay.
But like, when you come from nothing and you get an opportunity, as you just mentioned, to change your life and
Correct,
change your trajectory of your family for the next 20, 40 years,
Right.
you gonna fight for that.
Right.
Especially when you got a championship caliber team.
I know.
That you was just the second best player offensively
Correct.
outside of Deion Dawkins. You were the second best offensive player. And you want me to sit down and be like, yeah, I'll take $8 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what, man? Matter of fact, don't even really pay me. Like, I'm gonna actually just try to pay for free.
No,
Y'all doing that?
No.
Nah, these is kids that come from nothing.
Yeah, people, like I said, people take the business side of stuff personal. Like, this is business.
Yeah.
And for him to
This
be
is
one of the
business.
quietest ones, and him to speak up, I get it. It's not normal, right? But
Ain't no
at
one
the
gonna
same-
speak up for me.
right?
no one
You're
else.
right.
Yeah, like,
No one else gonna speak
yeah,
up.
y'all love it when he quiet. Now,
Right,
now
that's
y'all
it.
see a couple
Oh, my.
emojis on Instagram. Now y'all like, oh, trade him, get him
Oh,
out
my
of here,
God.
man.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely
but I
not.
get both sides. Like I said, man, it's gonna be until anything is finished. It's gonna be
Correct.
And the
discourse.
thing I'll say is they're a better team with him on the field.
I agree. I agree with that.
It's just, can they come to a number that works
A
for
mutual
both of them?
agreement, right?
We'll
Listen,
find-
at the end of the day, don't be surprised if we mid-August and out the blue,
Correct.
Bills
Correct.
extend James Cook
Got
for
you. Got you. That's a good
13
point.
and a half
Cash
next
up
season.
front.
That's a good point.
Because I'll tell you right now,
Three-year
that cash up
extension.
front,
Got you.
with
Got you.
half of that guaranteed in the first
Signing
2
bonuses.
Got
years,
you.
and
Got you.
And then all this-
incentives in
I like
there.
that. I like that.
Yeah.
it's all water under the bridge. None of this even happened.
And
So,
that's why I tell people, don't get too emotionally attached. Like I had to convince myself of this years ago. Now I'm 36 now. I've tried to year by year get better at emotionally detaching myself from certain things, especially when it comes to sports. I mean, being a Q's fan, a Syracuse fan, a Q's fan, a Knicks fan, a Bills fan, a lot of things can get. I know you a Sabres fan too. And I'll hop on the Sabres bandwagon one of these years when they get it together. Even though they playing good right now.
no point to be on the
Yeah,
bandwagon right now. You
shout
can
out to
stay
the
right where
Sabres.
you at.
Nah, shout out to the Sabres fighting and
You
clawing.
don't want to be over here with us.
Nah.
Oh, my
So there's so many ways that these teams and these situations can kind of, put some wear and tear on you, but you can't let it, because as I always say, life goes on, because
Thank you.
when the TV go off, when the game hits the fourth quarter and it's 0-0, I always say you got to go back to regular life. You got to get up for work the next day.
You
got to put gas in your car.
Oh,
You got to pay that bill that's sitting on the
Put your
table.
kids to sleep.
Yeah, you got to put your kids to sleep. You know, you got to celebrate birthdays, anniversaries over here. And I'll give a couple quick birthday shout outs and an anniversary shout out. You may have some as well. But celebrated since the last episode, both of my sisters' birthdays in March, Sharifa and Jamila. My father-in-law, Dennis' birthday also in March. My uncle birthday in March. I mean, so many birthdays in March. My son just turned 16, so shout out to Ray Bell. And then over here, my father and my mother celebrating 40 years of marriage.
Beautiful.
This coming weekend. So
4 decades. I love it.
Any shout outs for yourself?
Yeah, I got shout outs.
That means it's been a busy 30 days for me. It's been a lot going on, but like I said, we talk sports, we talk this and that, but at the end of the day, life.
Yes, it is.
There's life. There's things to celebrate. There's things that you have to get through day by day, and that's why I always say, like, this is all cool and dandy. I think sports is great for entertainment.
Right.
Buy some new, Bills gear, some new Knicks gear, blah blah. Man, listen. At the end of the day, man, this is all entertainment. And I know we invest our money, and it gives us something to talk about, but that's really all it is. But as we wrap it up in these last couple minutes, I think I went a little bit past my time, but any last closing thoughts? Because we know over the next few weeks is draft, but anything you want to end with, man? We appreciate you joining us too.
Well, first of all, I just want to thank Z and my son VJ Velpo for inviting me to talk about the early 60s, the beginning of the Buffalo Bills. I know we talk about the Mafia, but one of the things I really wanted to just mention today is that the Bills started in 1959 on Dodge and Jefferson. And that's when I became a Buffalo Bills fan in the early 60s. And so it's exciting to see not only for the Bills to be doing what they're doing now, but they are going to be going into a new stadium. But one of the things that we really want to look forward to is that, and I'm not even going to call it a hump. What we have to understand is that hopefully this year, with a good draft, with additional free agents, that they can reach that ultimate goal. And I think they will reach that. I really do. Because they do have the pieces. So I'm just hopeful for the whole team. I just want to just thank, again, Z and my son, Velpo, for inviting me to talk a bit about what happened 60 years ago when the Bills first started, and to bring us up until right now. So I thank you for just inviting me.
Yeah, no doubt,
absolutely.
Man.
Yeah, no, I'm just happy to start for another season. We here, we back. The energy is picking up. Like I said, I locked in them season tickets, so my season started a couple weeks ago. I'm ready to get started. But we got about 3 weeks before the draft.
Yeah.
So these next few weeks, we're just gonna be talking about who we want to see on the team, what we should do, what the Bills need to do to solidify they 90-man roster for training camp.
Sir,
so we got a whole bunch of draft prep coming up these next couple weeks. We're gonna probably get back with Uncle Dennis and do another mock draft and talk through what we think the Bills should do. Yeah. So exciting times, man. We got MVP on our team.
Yes, sir.
We got young and upcoming players on our team. So we got an exciting team. Great home schedule. I mean,
I agree.
Stress levels gonna be crazy.
Bro. I mean, the last season in this stadium, I don't think we could ask for a better schedule. Y'all know me now. Last couple of years, I get to 3 games at home at most.
You might have to hit 4 or 5.
It's gonna be a game. I might hit 6. I might
look out.
6. Y'all might see me in December. You never know.
Yeah,
I might be out here. I guess I'll probably have to these last couple of games.
Last one in this stadium, man, is gonna be.
I'm gonna have to show love to the stadium this year, but it's gonna be an amazing season. So I'm looking forward to that. I want to see Josh build on what he did, and I will say I didn't say any shout out to in the zone for V&Z for making it to season 4.
Yeah, season 4, man.
Again.
Congrats.
Yeah.
We're not doing this out here to, make money and none of that. We just want an outlet that we can just talk about.
For the love of the game, right?
Yeah. We out here just an outlet to talk sports and talk about the team we love. So, shout out to us for still, sticking through and coming back in. I don't want to say week in and week out, but week in and week out-ish.
Yeah.
to come and do what we want
but
to
yearly,
do. So
able to commit to going through the draft process with y'all, talking training camp with y'all, regular season.
We signed up for another 1-year contract.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, we signed.
Yeah.
We connected with some major networks. We won't name them, but
we out here.
we're not no Stephen A. Smith or nothing, but
Again, now 4 years in, we vested. You got to give us a league minimum now.
Yeah, something.
It's
Holla at us.
400,000 minimum as soon as we sign now. So this again, we back for another season. So the energy is gonna be high. I'm looking forward to this season. I know Val is looking forward to the season.
Man.
So it's gonna be good times.
Yep. And lastly, like I said, wrap it up, man. It's gonna be so much to really dive into. I think over the next 4 months. We know the draft is right here. We know post draft we're gonna have to analyze some things. We know going into training camp we also will. And then, like he already mentioned, the season is going to be full of so many different big games that we are going to have to really sit down and, go through those and experience those. But at the end of the day, as I just mentioned, it's entertainment. So enjoy it for what it is. Have fun through this whole process because not too many people can say they're witnessing having an MVP quarterback and a program, a team that is consistently one of the last six teams playing in late January. We waited years on top of years for this, and we are in the middle of it. I won't say we're in the beginning or the end. We are in the middle of a period of time having an MVP quarterback and a young core that should be competing year in, year out for the next 5 to 10 years. So be proud of that. Rock your Bills gear with pride. When it's the off season, please enjoy that time with your family, your friends, and all of that. But come September, baby, we back rolling. So take this all in. Have fun with your mock drafts. This is now mock draft season. So pretty enthused to dive into some more things. I mean, this is Team Kenneth Grant over here, so we're gonna be looking to add some more big bodies, some elite corners to the squad, and we're gonna have some fun with it. But this is Val, this is my father here, this is Z, and we're gonna catch y'all next week, baby. Peace out.
Thank you.
All right.